Generally speaking, when you just grow up, you just get to a point where things will not be tolerated, and respect should be mutual. And when respect is mutual, we can move and do whatever.
Right.
But when respect is not mutual, then that's what are you here for? The bag? That don't last, because I can do a bag without it. You know what I'm saying?
Salt-N-Pepa's betrayal of DJ Spinderella will leave you speechless, not just because of how it happened, but because of who it came from.
Business, and to me, it was just a story about two friends that was together before we were business partners, before we were Salt-N-Pepa, and all the ups and downs of what that looks like. And
After 3 decades of touring, recording, and breaking barriers together, Spinderella says she was fired by email, excluded from their biopic, and left to fight for royalties in court.
A lot of work. There was a lot of, like everything from legalities involved and dissecting royalties and things like that. So all that has been dealt with.
What hurt more was the silence from women she once called sisters. As the group faced controversies of their own, from money disputes to body image struggles, Spinderella was left on the outside, watching her legacy unfold without her voice in the room. This move turned the duo into a powerful trio. Cheryl Salt James and Sandra Peppa Denton were already making waves with their fun and bold style, but adding Spinderella gave the group a whole new energy. She was young, talented, and brought her DJ skills to the table, which became a huge part of their success. With Spinderella in the mix, the group went on to create some of the most famous songs in hip-hop history, like Push It, and Whatta Man. These songs didn't just get played on the radio, they became anthems that people still dance to today. Spinderella wasn't just a background DJ, she was a real part of the group's image and sound. The group didn't start as Salt-N-Pepa right away. Before the fame, Cheryl James and Sandra Denton were just 2 college friends who happened to meet a man named Hurby Love Bug Azor. Hurby was studying music production at the Center of Media Arts in New York. As part of a school project, he asked his then-girlfriend Cheryl and her friend Sandra to record a song for him. What started as a simple class assignment turned into something much bigger. The song they recorded was called The Showstopper, and it was made as a playful response to another popular rap track called The Show by Doug E. Fresh. At that time, they were not even called Salt-N-Pepa. They went by the name Supernature. The song The Showstopper used a melody from the movie Revenge of the Nerds, which gave it a fun and catchy vibe.
The circumstance rocks your pants, my fans. This is called a jam.
Hurby passed the song to his friend Marley Marl, a well-known DJ who had a rap radio show in New York City. Marley decided to play it on his weekend show, and to everyone's surprise, people loved it. Soon, radio stations started getting calls asking to play that song by Salt-N-Pepa, even though that wasn't their name yet. The lyrics of the song mentioned the Salt-N-Pepa MCs, and that line stuck. Because of this, Hurby decided to rename the group Salt-N-Pepa. That name would soon become famous all over the world. The success of The Showstopper made Cheryl and Sandra take music more seriously. They were both in nursing school at the time, but the excitement around the song pushed them to make a big decision. They dropped out to focus on music full-time. Hurby believed in them and wanted to build a group that could stand out. Before they worked on a full album, Hurby brought in a DJ named LaToya Hanson, who also went by Spinderella. Together, they worked on their debut album, Hot, Cool, and Vicious, which was released in December 1986.
Ooh, baby, I like the sound when the switch is on and you stop.
The album was produced by Hurby, who was not only their producer, but also Cheryl's boyfriend and the group's manager at the time. Even though LaToya was part of the group during the album's creation, things didn't work out. She and Cheryl reportedly did not get along, and just before the album hit stores, LaToya left the group. This left a big gap because the group needed a DJ to complete their sound and stage presence. That's when Hurby discovered Deidre Roper, a talented 16-year-old high school student. She was brought into the group in early 1987 and became the new Spinderella. This version of Salt-N-Pepa, Salt-N-Pepa and Spinderella would become the iconic lineup that people loved for years. At the time they entered the music industry, hip-hop was still very new, and many people thought it was just a passing trend. Big record companies didn't want to take a chance on rap artists, especially women in rap. Most hip-hop acts were signed to small independent labels. Salt-N-Pepa didn't just make good music, they broke barriers. They became one of the first all-female rap groups to find major success, showing the world that women had a place in hip-hop. They were bold, funny, and not afraid to talk about things many artists avoided, including sex and relationships. Their hit, Let's Talk About Sex, was groundbreaking.
Yo, I don't think we should talk about this. Come on, why not? People might misunderstand what we...
It wasn't just a song. It started conversations about safe sex and respect in relationships. At the same time, they challenged the way women were shown in rap music. While many feminists at the time disliked hip-hop because of its harsh lyrics about women, Salt-N-Pepa took control of their image. They dressed in fun, sexy outfits, but on their own terms. They weren't being objectified. They were expressing themselves and turning the tables on the industry. For over 30 years, Salt-N-Pepa and Spinderella toured the world, won awards, and became legends in the music industry. But in 2019, fans were shocked when Spinderella announced that she had been fired from the group.
Generally speaking, when you just grow up, you just get to a point where things will not be tolerated, and respect should be mutual.
Even more shocking was how it happened. According to Spinderella, she received an email saying she was terminated. After 3 decades together, the news came without a phone call or meeting. It was a painful ending to what many thought was an unbreakable bond. Spinderella said the relationship was over unless she received an apology, and the business issues between them were fixed.
And when respect is mutual, we can move and do whatever.
Right.
But when respect is not mutual, then that's what are you here for? The bag? That don't last, because I can do a bag without it. You know what I'm saying? So
after being removed, Spinderella spoke about her pain in interviews. She said being excluded from the group hurt her deeply because they were supposed to represent women supporting women. She pointed out that it's hard to talk about uplifting women if you can't uplift the people you work with. Around the same time, Salt-N-Pepa worked with Lifetime on a biopic about their story. But Spinderella claimed she was left out of the production entirely, even though her image and role were used in the film. She went on social media to express her disappointment. She said that too often Black women who make major contributions are left out of history, and she never imagined the same group that promoted female empowerment would one day disempower her. The situation became even more serious when Spinderella decided to take legal action. She sued Cheryl and Sandra for unpaid royalties, fraud, and breach of contract. Court documents showed she felt she had been wronged financially and professionally. In July 2019, the case was settled privately, but Spinderella later said that some legal issues were still being sorted out.
a lot of work. There was a lot of, like everything from legalities involved and dissecting royalties and things like that involved. So all that has been dealt with.
Despite the settlement, the emotional damage was done. For her, it wasn't just about money. It was about respect and acknowledgement of her place in the group's history.
Just seeing how the whole scope of hip hop is changing, just how things are, history is important.
Salt-N-Pepa later responded to Spinderella's claims during an interview. Cheryl Salt James said they were sad about the situation and called it unfortunate. She mentioned that they agreed to disagree but said their hearts were still open to Spinderella. Sandra Peppa Denton also said they always acknowledged Spinderella's contributions and would always see her as a sister. Regarding the biopic, they explained that the movie was focused on Salt-N-Pepa's friendship during their early college days before Spinderella joined. However, they admitted that she was still an important part of their story. After the split, Spinderella began focusing on her own projects. She started writing a memoir titled Queen on Deck, where she shares her side of the story and her life beyond the group. She said the book was important because, for most of her career, she was in the background. Now, she wants to tell her story and let people see who she really is as a person and as a DJ. In 2021, Lifetime released a movie about the group. It showed how they rose to fame and became one of the most successful female rap groups in history.
But I can't drop out. But we definitely quit.
When the movie was about to air, Spinderella decided to speak out publicly. She went on Twitter and expressed how upset she was about being excluded. "Sorry, but I gotta speak on this Lifetime special," she began. She explained that too often, Black women who make big contributions in their industries are erased from history. Spinderella reminded people that Salt-N-Pepa's legacy was about empowering women, and she never thought the same group would one day make her feel powerless. She said it was painful to watch a movie about the group's story while being shut out from the process. Spinderella's disappointment went deeper because the movie used her image throughout. She said it felt wrong to see her role portrayed on screen while having no say in how her story was told. "Words cannot fully express my disappointment," she said. She believed that leaving her out of every part of the production was unfair, especially since she was such an important part of the group's history. For Spinderella, it was not just about a movie. It was about being silenced after giving so much to the group for decades. Spinderella also said something that touched many people. She shared that there is nothing more unacceptable than a woman being silenced by another woman. That statement hit hard because Salt-N-Pepa were her sisters in music. They had built their careers together, breaking barriers as women in hip-hop. For Spinderella, being excluded by them made it even more painful. She announced that she would not be supporting the Lifetime movie because of how it treated her. Even with her disappointment, Spinderella still showed grace. She congratulated the actresses who played them in the film. She gave a special shout-out to Monique Paul, the actress who portrayed her. Spinderella said she wished the actress had been given the chance to share her real story and perspective. She also reminded everyone that she had spent over 30 years empowering women with her music and would continue to do so through her work. Spinderella revealed that she was finishing her memoir, where she would tell her personal journey through life, relationships, and the music industry that shaped her.
With all that being said, it's no secret that DJ Spinderella has been speaking out publicly against the movie, claiming she was, quote, wrongfully excluded from every aspect of development and production, and that she played an integral role in the group's story and success.
After Spinderella's tweets, Salt-N-Pepa responded. They went on the talk show The Real to address the issue.
Business, and to me it was just a story about two friends that was together before we were business partners, before we were Salt-N-Pepa, and all the ups and downs of what that looks like. And
Salt said she had tried to reach out to Spinderella before the movie came out. She explained that they also contacted her during production regarding a specific part of the film. Salt said she felt sad about the situation and hoped one day they could resolve it. "We've come to a crossroads where we have decided to agree to disagree," Salt said. She added that their hearts had always been open to Spinderella and that they still considered her their sister. Peppa also spoke about the controversy. She said the movie mostly focused on her and Salt's friendship during their college years. She explained that Spinderella joined the group later, which is why the movie centered more on their early relationship. Still, Pepa made it clear that they would always acknowledge Spinderella's contribution to the group's success. "She will always be our sister," Pepa said. Both Salt-N-Pepa insisted they reached out to her during the process, but Spinderella still felt her voice was ignored.
Yeah, I reached out to Spinderella. I feel like it's very unfortunate. You know, we've come to a crossroads where we have decided to agree to disagree.
For Spinderella, the situation was about more than just a movie. It was about respect and recognition for her role in shaping hip-hop history. She reminded fans that Salt-N-Pepa had always stood for women's empowerment, and being left out of their story felt like the opposite of what they once believed in. Her tweets sparked a conversation online about how often women, especially black women, are erased or pushed aside in historical stories. This was not the first time there had been tension between Spinderella and Salt-N-Pepa. In the past, she had sued the group for alleged fraud and unpaid royalties after being fired. Many fans felt that this Lifetime movie incident showed that their relationship had not healed. Despite the pain, Spinderella stayed focused on telling her truth in her own way, especially through her upcoming book.
But yeah, you just don't take bullshit anymore. When you get to a certain point, it's done. And I felt like if we don't have that mutual respect, it's not going to work. And so we needed that. We needed to do that.
The situation also highlighted how personal group histories can become when they are turned into movies. For fans, it was surprising to see such a major figure in the group feel left out of their story. Many believed that the film should have included Spinderella more, not only because of her musical role, but also because of what she represented for women in hip-hop. Spinderella's words carried a bigger message. She reminded everyone that women who break barriers should not be erased from history. Her story showed how important it is for artists to control their own narratives and to speak up when they feel wronged. Even though the Lifetime movie created division, it also gave Spinderella a platform to share her side and remind people of her legacy. Salt-N-Pepa's response showed that they were open to making peace, but they also felt the story needed to be told from their perspective. They acknowledged that every story has many sides, and they hoped one day things could be resolved between them and Spinderella. For now, the Lifetime movie became not just a story about music history, but also a story about friendship, respect, and the struggles women face in keeping their voices heard in the industry.
Just seeing how the whole scope of hip-hop is changing, just how history is important.
In the 1990s, the group faced big problems with their producer and former manager, Hurby Azor. They said he was not paying them the right amount of money from their music sales. The group believed the royalties, which are payments artists get for their songs, were not being shared fairly. This caused a lot of anger and mistrust between them and Hurby. The fights over money and control became so bad that they decided to cut ties with him completely. What started as a good working relationship ended in disappointment and legal battles that hurt both sides. After leaving Hurby, the group signed a deal with Red Ant Records. They were given a large signing bonus and felt like this was a new start. But soon after releasing their album, Brand New, the record label went bankrupt. This meant there was no money to promote the album, no strong marketing, and no support for tours. Even though the music was good, it did not get the attention it needed. Many fans never even heard about the release, and the album struggled to succeed. This financial collapse was a huge setback at a time when they were trying to move forward. While all this was happening, Cheryl, Salt James, was fighting her own personal battle. She later revealed she had bulimia, an eating disorder. Even though the group was famous and winning awards, she felt sad and empty inside. The pressure of fame and the problems behind the scenes took a toll on her health and happiness. During this time, another controversy came when Tupac Shakur filmed scenes for the Whatta music video.
Yeah, talk to me. Yeah.
The label later cut his parts because they worried about his image. Tupac was hurt and angry, feeling like it was disrespectful. In 2024, Sandra Pepa Denton from Salt-N-Pepa found herself in the middle of an online storm. Many fans noticed that her pictures on social media looked very edited. Some followers said the photos did not show her real face and body. They asked her to stop using so many filters and show her natural look. This started a big conversation online about how people see themselves in the digital world. Some fans said filters make people feel pressured to look perfect all the time. Others said everyone has the right to post pictures however they want. For Pepa, it showed how hard it can be to be a celebrity where every photo gets judged. Even with the drama online, people still celebrate what Salt-N-Pepa have done for music. In 2022, the group was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. This was a huge moment because it showed how much they changed hip-hop and opened doors for women in rap. Spinderella, the group's longtime DJ, came to the ceremony even though she has had problems with Salt-N-Pepa in the past. Seeing all three together reminded fans of the strong bond they once had. Spinderella said she hoped their music would keep inspiring young artists for years to come. The moment showed that no matter the personal issues, their legacy in music will always be remembered. Right now, the relationship between Spinderella and Salt-N-Pepa is still not fully healed. Salt-N-Pepa have said they are open to making peace, but Spinderella has been clear that she wants a real apology first. She has said the past hurt her deeply and needs to be addressed before they can work together again. Fans hope they will fix things because the three women together created something very special in music. For now, it is a waiting game to see if they can find a way back to each other. Whether they reunite or not, their story shows both the struggles and the power of friendship, fame, and music over the years.